Now this is an airplane pilots dream about.
Welcome aboard.
Only the handful of flights lasting more than 6 hours.
American Express. It's the only credit card you really need for
the Golden Age, a time when civilization was at its peak and industries produced remarkable results. And for aviation, the Golden Age was a time the industry experienced significant innovation and airline passengers received premium experiences. Today, we'd be taking you back to some amazing features in the Golden Age of flying.
I always order a special meal. On this airline, I go with a seafood salad.
Gourmet Meals. Airlines really offered premium services back then. Instead of the sad plastic tray of food you get today, people were greeted with a gourmet feast. Passengers were pampered with elaborate high-quality meals that could rival a five-star restaurant. The meals were served on real china with shining silverware. These in-flight feasts included everything from lobsters to French cuisine, accompanied by wines and dessert. Flight attendants dressed more like high-end waitstaff, catered to every culinary need, making the dining experience something to look forward to. The best you can get in today's flight is a plastic wrap sandwich and maybe a cookie if you're lucky. The glamour and luxury have now faded. Spacious Seating. During the golden age of flying, instead of being crammed like sardines in a can, you could find yourself sinking into a plush and spacious seat. This seat offered enough legroom and wider space than today's travelers could only dream of. Stretch out, cross your legs, or even have a dance party if you fancied. Well, maybe not the last one, but you get the idea. You could actually recline without encroaching on your neighbor's space. The generous seating ensured that even on a long-haul flight, it felt like a breeze, allowing passengers to relax and truly enjoy the journey. The experience is different from recent times where legroom is measured in inches, and you're more than likely to engage in an elbow battle for the armrest than to find peace. Modern passengers endure cramped quarters, minimal recline, and the constant jostling of nearby bodies. Instead of relaxing, we spend our flights calculating the least awkward way to retrieve something from our bags or trying not to disturb the stranger sleeping mere inches away.
Smoking or non-smoking?
Smoking, please.
There. Have a nice trip.
Smoking allowed. Back then, smoking was not only permitted, it was part of the in-flight experience. You could actually light a cigarette at 30,000 feet without anyone batting an eye. Designated smoking sections allowed passengers to puff away, filling the cabin with smoke somehow seemed glorious back then. Ashtrays were built into armrests, and the flight attendants would even offer you a light. It was a different era where the health risks were either unknown or simply ignored, and the idea of enjoying a cigarette while cruising above the clouds was just another luxury of air travel. Dressing up. Air travel was a glamorous affair that warranted your finest attire. Forget the sweatpants and hoodies of today's travelers. Back then, it was all about dressing to impress. Men would wear sharp suits and ties, shoes that were polished to perfection, and women adorned themselves in elegant dresses and chic accessories, often with a string of pearls. Flying wasn't only about reaching your destination, it was an occasion that called for your Sunday best. The atmosphere on board felt more like an exclusive high society gathering than a mere mode of transportation, and the cabin resembled a stylish social club above the clouds where everyone made a fashion statement. Open cockpits. The cockpit door was often left open, inviting passengers to witness the wonders of aviation up close. You could chat with the pilots, see a confusing array of controls, and maybe even get a quick lesson on the basics of flying. It was a time when security protocols were relaxed and the barrier between crew and passengers was almost non-existent. This open-door policy added an element of wonder and excitement to the journey, making air travel feel like a shared adventure. It also gave reassurance to passengers to know and relate well with the pilot, whose expertise determined their safety as long as they were in that airplane. Free checked luggage. Free checked luggage was a given, and generous weight allowances were the norm. Travelers could bring multiple suitcases, packed to the brim without any concern for additional cost. The concept of being charged per bag for excess weight was virtually unheard of, and as you arrived at the airport, there were no frantic moments at the check-in counter, trying to shuffle items between bags to avoid hefty fees. Instead, the experience was smooth and hassle-free, with courteous staff ready to handle your belongings with care. This lenient luggage policy allowed passengers to travel with ease and comfort, bringing along everything they may need for a luxurious vacation or an extended business trip. This made air travel feel more hospitable and stress-free, allowing passengers to focus on the excitement of their journey rather than the logistics of packing. In-flight magazines. One of the few joys of flying in the golden age was the In-Flight Magazine, a high-quality glossy publication that was more than just a time killer. These magazines usually featured stunning photography, engaging articles, and a touch of class that perfectly matched the ambiance of air travel. While today's passengers might reach for their smartphones to pass the time, there's a distinct difference in experience. A glossy in-flight magazine offered an immersive experience that digital screens can't quite replicate. You could flip through the pages, feel the weight of the paper, and enjoy the sophisticated design without the glare of a screen. It was a perfect escape from the screen time in today's world. Personalized service. Imagine boarding a flight and being greeted by an attendant who not only knows your name, but also remembered your favorite drink and meal preference. In the golden age of flying, personalized service was a hallmark of the aviation experience. Flight attendants took pride in offering a level of attentiveness that made every passenger feel like a VIP. From the moment you stepped on board, you were treated to a bespoke experience. Attendants would greet you with a warm smile, address you by name, and make you feel valued and special. They remembered your preferences, whether it was a particular type of beverage, a preferred meal option, or even a special request for extra pillows. This personal touch extended throughout the flight, creating an atmosphere of genuine care and hospitality. You can't compare this with today's flying experience, where passengers often feel like just another number in a sea of travelers. With budget constraints and staff shortages, personalized service has become a rare luxury. Passengers frequently encounter issues like long wait times for assistance, a lack of attention to specific needs, and impersonal interactions. Frequent cocktails. Frequent cocktails were not just a luxury but a delightful standard. Passengers enjoyed a range of complimentary alcoholic beverages, including carefully concocted signature cocktails that made the flight feel like a sophisticated soiree in the sky. Flight attendants, with their impeccable service, would glide down the aisle offering everything from a classic martini to innovative new concoctions. And whether you were toasting to a special occasion or simply savoring a moment of relaxation, the availability of free, high-quality drinks made every flight feel like a special event. Today's travelers face a very different reality. The once luxurious in-flight cocktail service has largely been replaced by overpriced beverages and more streamlined, with a less personal approach to customer service. No security hassles. Travelers back then merely have to breeze through the airport with barely a second thought about security. The process was refreshingly simple. No long lines, no intrusive scanners, or endless screening procedures. Security was minimal and designed to ensure a smooth and stress-free experience for passengers. You could stroll through the airport with your bags without the need for meticulous inspections or the anxiety of having your belongings scrutinized. The security checkpoints were more about courtesy and efficiency than rigorous protocols of today. This laid-back approach allowed travelers to focus on the joy of their journey rather than the hurdles of air travel. Fast forward to today and the scene is markedly different. The security landscape has evolved into a maze of procedures, including rigorous body scans, extensive pat-downs, and long waits at crowded checkpoints. Liquid restrictions and the need to remove your shoes and belt have turned what was once a smooth process into a series of hurdles. Piano lounges. Imagine boarding a plane and discovering a luxurious piano lounge where live music created an atmosphere of sophistication and relaxation. In the golden age of flying, some aircraft featured these elegant lounges, turning air travel into the perfect experience. As you entered the piano lounge, you were greeted by plush seating and the gentle strains of a live pianist playing a selection of timeless melodies. The lounge offered a serene escape from the usual bustle of travel, allowing passengers to unwind and socialize in style. Whether you were savoring a cocktail, engaging in lively conversation, or simply enjoying the music, the lounge provided a refined and enjoyable environment. Passengers could gather round the grand piano to network while enjoying the pianist's skillful performance, adding a touch of class to the journey. Sky beds. When embarking on a long-haul flight, travelers in the luxurious first-class cabin enjoyed comfort on another level. First-class passengers were often treated to the ultimate in travel indulgence, a sky bed. These weren't only seats, they were fully reclining beds that converted into spacious and flat sleeping areas. As they settled into their sky bed, the hustle and bustle of the airport and the claustrophobic confines of standard seating seemed like a distant memory. The seats would extend and flatten, offering a sumptuous mattress complete with plush pillows and cozy blankets. It was just like having a private suite in the sky where you could lie down, stretch out, and drift into a peaceful sleep, all while cruising comfortably. Today, the absence of such luxurious amenities often leaves travelers grappling with cramped seating and restless nights, and many passengers on long-haul flights are squeezed into narrow seats that barely recline, making it difficult to get comfortable or even go to sleep. A lack of fully reclining bed means that even first-class travelers might face discomfort with seats that don't fully transform into a flat and restful surface. Onboard chefs. Some airlines went to extraordinary lengths to ensure that dining while passengers were on board was nothing short of exceptional. Onboard chefs were a hallmark of this era, providing a level of culinary service that transformed the in-flight dining experience. As you settled into your plush seat, the onboard chef would be busy preparing a menu of gourmet dishes tailored to your preference. And whether you craved a perfectly seared steak, a delicately crafted seafood dish, or a sumptuous dessert, the chef was there to bring your dietary needs to life. Meals were prepared fresh, often right before your eyes. The menu was often extensive and crafted to include a variety of exquisite options. Travel kits. As passengers get on a plane, they're often given a complimentary travel package loaded with all the basics. Airlines went above and beyond back then to make sure every guest, not only those in first class, had a pleasant and luxurious experience. Usually guests would find a lovely travel pack waiting for them as they settled into their seats. It contained slippers to keep their feet warm, an eye mask to help them rest, and a selection of premium utilities for personal hygiene during the flight. Many times the kits were also beautifully presented. Free newspapers. Picture arriving at the airport and being handed a freshly printed newspaper. It was a small but wonderful gesture that helped to make the journey somewhat more interesting. Complimentary newspapers were given to all travelers back then. A friendly flight attendant would guarantee passengers they had the most recent headlines and in-depth stories to go through as they handed over the papers. There was always something to keep people informed and entertained, whether their interests were in local updates, worldwide news, or the newest in business and entertainment. Fashion shows in the golden age of flying were truly unique experiences. Airlines would often host these glamorous events mid-flight, showcasing the latest collections from top designers. For example, in the 1960s, Braniff International Airways partnered with fashion icon Emilio Pucci to create in-flight fashion shows featuring his vibrant and innovative designs. Models would gracefully walk down the aisle, presenting exquisite garments, making the flight a fashionable affair. These in-flight fashion shows offered passengers a unique form of entertainment and a sneak peek at the latest trends, all while soaring above the clouds. In today's world, fashion shows have become large-scale events, often losing the personal touch and exclusivity that characterize those mid-flight spectacles. Reflecting on this golden era, one can't help but miss the charm and elegance of fashion shows that turned an ordinary flight into an extraordinary journey. Window shades. Airplanes used to have real adjustable window shades that gave travelers precise control over the cabin's light. These window coverings were far more superior, more than the plastic substitutes of today. They were made from premium materials, and the colors provided a more practical way to control the cabin's light and mood. Passengers could change the blinds to suit what they wanted, whether it's that they allowed in just a trace of sunshine or totally blocked it out for a peaceful rest was up to them. The fact that the blinds were easy to operate allowed passengers to create the ideal surroundings they needed. The ability to adjust the light improved the general flight comfort, and it allowed people to enjoy their personal space free from strong cabin lights or the outside glare. No middle seats. Middle seats used to be a rather uncommon sight. Most airplanes were built with only window and aisle seats, and the middle seats were removed completely. This careful layout gave passengers more room and enjoyment, which allowed everyone to have either easy access to the aisle or a good view of the skies. Middle seats were absent, so passengers could enjoy more comfort and personal space. On both sides, there were no awkward encounters with strangers, no struggle to make space for your arms or personal belongings, and no feeling of being squeezed in between people. Every seat was positioned to give a more open and relaxed setting, which only improved the entire flight satisfaction. It can't be compared with the travel experience of today, when getting the middle seat is usually regarded as the worst part of flying. Many passengers complain about the tight spaces, the cramped setup, and the lack of privacy that comes from being squashed between two others. Children's amenities. Airlines used to go out of their way to make sure that kids on board were properly taken care of, offering kids with toys, games, and special meals to keep them engaged and happy all throughout the flight. The children were fed specially prepared meals that fit their tastes and dietary requirements, and they were presented in a way that was appealing and interesting to them. The goal was to make eating enjoyable for them and keep them from throwing tantrums during the flight. Flight attendants would frequently offer different types of toys and games meant to entertain young guests, from little soft toys to vibrant activity kits. They were chosen with great care to keep kids occupied and entertained, and this improved the overall flying experience for parents as well as for the kids. These days, you might hear parents complaining about the lack of attention paid to their children's needs. They would make complaints centered on the lack of kid-friendly facilities, the challenge to keep kids occupied without availability of toys and games, and the trouble of controlling restless toddlers in a small cabin. For parents, they're left to balance food, entertainment, and the occasional tantrum with very little help from the airline, and a lack of special meals or activities can make flights really difficult. Exclusive lounges. Arriving at the lounge of some airports seemed as though one was entering a brand new world of financial and social status. These lounges were beautiful, relaxed spaces that were meant to make your pre-flight time as pleasant as possible and not just a place to wait. Their stylish interior design, comfy seats, and variety of premium facilities help create a really luxurious travel experience. Comfort and elegance were common features of the airport lounge, and airports would even sometimes boast to have live entertainment, ranging from jazz bands to piano performance. This encouraged a relaxed and appealing environment that made the waiting time for their flights to feel more like a relaxing evening out instead of a simple airport stopover. Passengers relaxed to the comforting sounds of live music, all arranged in grand style, and you could also indulge in several kinds of fine wine, freshly made cuisine, and desserts. This is not at all like the airport lounges of today. Even though many of them still attempt to keep the same level of sophistication, some lounges these days may provide simple drinks and comfy seats, but they usually lack the same style and originality of their golden age versions. Live entertainment is a lot less common, and the food and drink choices don't always fit the high standards that others once enjoyed. Which of these features would you love to experience again? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, you'll also want to see this one about things in the 1980s once completely necessary that are now obsolete. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.